compatibility in proficiency. And he's also used some new design software with the Clearly concept. About the Rajiv sir has 15 years of the experience in the architecture projects, and he provide best fit architectural solution, technical support, and defining scope and pursuing the process for the architect. So I welcome Mr. Rajiv Pandya and Kawaljeet Chauhan for this valuable webinar, and welcome in our university talk, Palin University talk. So Mike is here, and please share your knowledgeable points to us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for a wonderful introduction of ours. We are pleased that Pal University invited us for this expert lecture on a topic that is so important in nowadays. So, PPT share हो गया screen पे. Just a second.
No problem.
We don't have the PPT to study. Video. Okay, we'll be streaming. Fine. Okay, is the PPT visible? Hello.
Yes, it is visible.
Yeah. Okay. So good morning all present over here. Hope everyone is doing well and is healthy. I know it is a very difficult time for all of us, but we shall overcome this pandemic condition very soon. And with this positivity, I would like to start my today's lecture on sustainable architecture with functionality and maintenance of the structures. So what we'll do is we will break the topics, we'll follow the sequences, and first it would be basic introduction to the topic, that is sustainable architecture. What is sustainable architecture? Why is sustainable architecture required? How is sustainability helping in construction and the environment around us? Second topic will be, I would be naming a few segments of sustainable architecture and letting you some brief about them. Third topic will be, we will be expanding or elaborating a few of those elements. My partner would be elaborating about the same. So you get a nice idea as how the sustainability is going to help in functionality and maintenance of the structure. Further, after that, we will conclude the topic from our side with some practical examples and analysis, if possible. And then we will have a small interaction sessions with you guys for queries and doubts. Okay. So now let's start with the introduction of sustainable architecture. Before that, I would really like to talk about the history of architecture and what is architecture in a nutshell. We all know history of architecture is about as long as the history of humanity. It was originated around 10,000 BC and evolved after each passing era. Architecture has always evolved. Architecture has proven to be many things down the lane, which is comfort, elegance, modernity, and vernacularity, and much more. But one of its most interesting aspect that we as a team find interesting.
It is also a basic aspect of architecture.
Exactly.
So that is like the root cause of building,
Exactly.
need for a building.
So one of the interesting aspects is its capacity to reflect the spirit of time. Architecture always reflects the spirit of time, no matter which era it's made in. With the history of with this history, one basic question that arises in our mind: why we need architecture, or why we had to create an enclosed space or a building. Actually, I would like to have an answer from as in this webinar session. So I would really like to ask yourself that why do we need a building or an enclosed structure? Why people need architecture in their lives? So the answer to this is very primitive. A very basic and functional answer is to protect ourselves from climate. We needed shelter from the outside harsh conditions, so we planned and designed building according to our need and prevailing the topographical conditions. The other major reason, this is one of the most important reason, though primitive but very important reason. The second most important reason was to create an image of the city or a place or an area in that matter. For example, when I say, is English okay na? I can converse in Hindi. I would like to converse in Hindi. Hello. Hello.
Are we audible?
Are we audible?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Sir, would you
You're
like us to converse in Hindi also? Hindi or Gujarati?
Yes, yes. You can use Hindi and English language both.
Yeah. Fine.
Okay.
So, yeah, about the creating an image of the place. When I say Paris, जब Paris की बात हम करते हैं, तो what is the first thing that clicks in your mind? That is Eiffel Tower. Similarly, when I say India, what is the first thing that comes into your mind? Taj Mahal. When I say Egypt, pyramids pops up in our head. So, protecting oneself and creating an image of the place was the fundamental reason why architecture emerged. Thus, to design a given space so that the needs and requirements are met without losing the aesthetic value of the building and also minimal maintenance achieved is architecture to us. So now I will move forward to the introduction, which is today's topic, Introduction to Sustainable Architecture. Well, everyone is very much aware of the term sustainable architecture. We have read it in on Google, on internet and everything due to global warming and stuff like that. But I would like to just brief you about a few things. That what is sustainability? Well, I would say sustainability is as an avoidance of depletion for the future maintenance. It is as simple as that. It is an avoidance of depletion for the future maintenance. We have seeked this architectural aspect for one good reason, and that is to minimize the negative environmental impact from the building into the surrounding climate or environment. Well, when I say negative impact from the building, I don't mean that our houses and our buildings are emitting negative energies or carbon footprint. Yes, they are. I mean, up to some extent they are. But I'm talking about a broader sense is the procedure, right from the raw materials where they are extracted, when they are in the procedure of construction, and also post-occupancy. The activities that we people as humans do post-occupancy as a group of people or a company or individuals, we emit negative environmental impact. So this can be achieved by moderation of materials, energy, and development of space, keeping in mind energy and ecological conservation. So all the above aspects will improve the performance during a building's life cycle. We'll discuss this ahead. Also, one of the major development in sustainable architecture is green building. People often get confused in green building and sustainable architecture. Green building is a part of sustainable architecture. It's a part of sustainability. And green building was developed so that operating costs can be reduced. Yes, initial costs are high, but down the lane, if you see, operating cost will be minimal and the building life cycle will tremendously increase. And the increase in productivity, improved health, reduce in environmental impacts, and stuff like that that you already know. So I have been told civil engineering के भी बच्चे हैं यहाँ पे students हैं. So they might be thinking कि architecture की क्या ज़रूरत है हमें. We are civil engineering people, but guys, trust me, architecture is a part of engineering, civil engineering. It's a field. Architecture is all about visualizing what you want to plan, what you want to design, and civil engineering comes in when you want to execute on site. So it's a part of it, and apart from that, architecture is a very beautiful thing. That's how I have learned from my senior, and आशा करते हैं आप भी इसी तरह से सीखें. So moving forward, so essentially, what is the need for sustainability, sustainable architecture that can be known like this? That to reduce the carbon footprints on biodiversity on a macro level of a city. Now, carbon footprints is a very fancy word used now and then with global warming, but carbon footprint is nothing but the emission of green gases, which are carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, the IR, infrared, that are emitting from various sources of construction material, structure, buildings, etc. And also the activity, as I have already mentioned. Also to harvest and conserve water resources. Guys, harvesting water resource and conserving water resource is a two very different thing. One should know the difference between it. To reduce electrical consumption and also the wastage. To reuse and recycle materials so that depletion of natural resources can be controlled. And obviously, last but not the least, manage wastewater systems very effectively, very, very effectively. Now, as you can see, there are few reasons of why sustainable architecture is required. Okay, when I say sustainable architecture, I clearly mean in a context of urban population and urbanization, because that is where the problem started, and that is where the urban people are suffering the most. Everything from now, what we are discussing, what we will be discussing, will be in the context of urban planning and urbanization only, because let's face it, we all know that rural population, rural planning does not need sustainable architecture. That is needed in urban planning areas. Fine. So there are a few reasons that you can see in the PPT: migration from rural to urban, depletion of natural resources, high energy and lifestyle, and I would like to say very bluntly, a very bad lifestyle and a bad use of resources and consuming it. Effect on biodiversity due to deforestation. So obviously overpopulation, and these are stuff you already know. We'll just move forward. ये तो basics है. As you can see, methods for achieving sustainable design are economic resources, which is energy conservation, as I already said, water conservation. Again, guys, water conservation, water harvesting is a very different thing. There are two different aspects to it. Materials conservation, life cycle of a building, pre-building phase, building phase, and post-building phase, that is the post-occupancy phase. Right from where the raw materials are being extracted, either from the ore, and supplying it, carting it from, transporting it to the site, to the procedure of construction, and reusing those things, limiting the wastage of those materials, and human design. A design should be as such that the design part will be very well explained by my partner. He's also my senior, and he is also my mentor. He means to be my mentor, and Mr. Raju Pandya. He will discuss more in detail about this. So I will just brief you in the next topic, next segment. I will brief you the elements of sustainable architecture. So सस्टेनेबल आर्किटेक्चर के 5 या 6 मेजर एलिमेंट्स है जिससे सस्टेनेबल आर्किटेक्चर बनता है. That are the subtopics. One is sustainable design, which has active design, active sustainability, and passive sustainability. Second are the building materials, as you all know. Third is landscape integration, that is green building concept. Fourth is energy management, which has renewable as well as non-renewable resources. And fifth, very important, waste resource management. So all these elements and factors will be elaborated and explained thoroughly by my mentor, my partner, Mr. Rajiv Pandya. Rajiv sir.
Hello friends, I'm Rajiv. So it's a very good topic, and to be honest, we generally in practice don't much care about this topic in India, but it is very important topic, and in future the norms will be created to regulate the sustainability of a building, or to make building more efficient. In India today, we don't have that norms, but when you go abroad, there you will have to learn all these things. So, see, 1 hour is not enough to discuss or to elaborate much on this topic. But today we'll be discussing the major, or maybe the basics of this topic. So they are so important that it will help you. These topics will help you, or these parts will help you, these elements will help you to create your own sustainable building and to have your own green building portfolio. So I'm repeating it once again. I'll be covering these 5 elements, these basic 5 elements of sustainable building design. First is passive sustainable design. Second is active sustainable design. Third is green building materials. Fourth is landscape design. And fifth is waste management. So these are the 5 parts through which should be taken care of while designing a sustainable architecture or sustainable building. Okay, so let me start with a passive sustainable design. So what is passive sustainable design? Basically, it's all about using and controlling the climatic conditions, or say controlling the contextual climatic conditions through various elements of building to increase the building sustainability. Here the building design helps in using the elements of climate like wind by decreasing the active and sustainable design needs. So what are the different passive sustainable design elements of climate which generally affect the building? So the major are like wind, water and sun. Okay, so let us start with an example. You might have studied old Indian village houses, maybe. Yes. There you must have seen the orientation of the houses. You know, they are generally north-south oriented. And why is that? What is the reason of their orientation, and why am I talking about this? Because the orientation of the building is one of the very important part of sustainable design. And we have certain softwares nowadays. We get these softwares, and in masters you will need to learn all these softwares to increase the efficiency of your building. So these softwares takes care of wind direction, thermal insulation, water management part, everything, all like that. So these are the elements of passive sustainable design. So I was talking about the old houses where the homes were north-south oriented. So what happens generally that they are in row, and the east and west walls there becomes the common walls. So what happens that the heat induction, you know that the heat generally is induced through ceilings, maximum through ceilings, then comes west wall, then east wall, and then south wall. So they very cleverly designed or positioned these houses in north-south direction in such a way that the induction through north and through east and west walls is greatly reduced because they becomes common walls. So that is a very clever design. One more thing, they used to they used to create the dwellings uh, with by digging the land. So eventually what happens that these land, when they dig, it generally comes from the eastern part of the village, and eventually it becomes their lake. So it is very clever that when you dig a soil or when you dig a land, and when you dig it from the eastern side of your village, it eventually becomes a part of the daily water needs. So that is a very clever design. Now, I would just want to give you an example. You must be knowing Google Maps. Okay, so you just open Google Maps and see that Ajwa is in exact east of Vadodara. You just go through that, and you will realize the importance of positioning, the positional importance. So these things are very maybe or create a town or a city. So all this, and this is like the basics. Now again, these I was talking about these dwellings, village dwellings. So these dwellings were oriented in north-south direction, and we know that the southwest wind generally flows from the southwest. The wind here flows from southwest. So what happens that the wind is properly channelized, this southwest wind. So again, this is a very basic and important part of which should be considered while designing a building. So as I said, positioning a building is very important. Again, you must Google out Persian wind catchers and pressure shafts. See, they did, because in hotter climates the need to cool a building in a conventional way, or maybe in a ecological friendly way, was very important. So there they had to find a way to control the uh, uh, interior atmosphere, or maybe the inside of a building, and decrease the temperatures and control the temperatures. So what they did, they smartly invented or maybe discovered the underground ducts through which the water was passed, and you can find more on Google definitely. And that's how they used to keep cool in their buildings. So again, the design was so efficient that they used to create ice during winter. See, I'm talking about the eco-friendly way of creating ice. So you must find out more, because we don't have much time. So we are moving forward with this topic. So now let's talk about, we have talked about sun. Now let's talk about wind. You must be knowing the funnel effect. If not, then let me just brief you out with this. Generally, funnel effect is created when the air flows from higher pressure region to lower pressure region. Okay, so that is wind. So, or any gas flows from higher pressure region to lower pressure region. So what happens generally is that the intermolecular distance suddenly increases, and thus the friction between intermolecular distance is decreases. This decreases the overall temperature of the gas. This is a very basics of um, creating a wind or maybe decreasing the temperature. So so as I said, the similar uh, idea is used in air conditioning to decrease, in any case, to decrease the temperature or to increase the temperature of the inside of building. So now let us come to basics again, the foundation. What creates wind? What creates wind? Have you ever thought of that? Generally, wind is created through pressure differences. And what creates pressure differences? So, absolutely, you all know that the pressure differences is created because of the temperature differences. And that is how the air becomes wind. The flowing air is a wind. Okay. So that is how the wind is created. So these are the important basic aspects which you must take care of before creating a sustainable building. So I have discussed about wind. Now let's talk in brief about water. We talked about sun, then wind, and now we are talking about water. So water management or maybe water harvesting, as Sir said, is an important part of green building or maybe sustainable building, because water is a necessity for all human beings. So one of the way, generally in urban, we are talking about urban context because most of you will be further studying and practicing in the urban context. So we'll be considering urban context only. So we all know that how to channelize in urban context, how to channelize rainwater and make recharge wells and harvest rainwater in a rainwater tank and all that. Again, on a bigger scale, rainwater generally, runoff rainwater is used to create reservoirs through catchment areas, and the potential energy of the water inside reservoir is again used to create electrical energy. That is the basics. Okay, so that is how you use water smartly to control or to increase the efficiency of your building. Again, I'm just giving you an example. Sometimes you must have seen that a smartly placed water body uh, creates evaporation of water or through sun, and with the use of wind it decreases the nearby temperatures, and this is called natural cooler. So this is how you can create building spaces inside of the building spaces and nearby building spaces to decrease. We are talking about India. Most of the times we will be talking about India. So India generally remains on high temperatures, and it's a hot country. So we will be talking about reducing the temperature for the most of the part. We will be discussing on that. Okay. In other countries, you you must be like studying on how to increase the temperatures, because there the temperatures must be increased for human comfort. So right now we will be talking of Indian conditions only. Okay. So now let us these, like we have already talked about sun, water, and wind, the three major aspects which should be taken care of before designing sustainable building. And this is inside one of the element called passive building design. Now the second part is active sustainable design. So as as you have seen that how passive sustainable design is important, the position is important for a building to be more efficient. In the same way, we will be focusing on how to, basically what this is all about is how to increase the human comfort. This is what is this all about. We are increasing the human comfort by decreasing or by minimizing the use of artificial energy. But in urban context, we are talking about urban context, there you might not get a chance to use all this to their full potential. So there then comes the active sustainable design. So basically, active sustainable design consists of artificial cooling and heating elements. And nowadays, we also use integrate mechanics and electronics for energy conservation. You all know we use sensors to create automatic on-off lights, and many more applications are there for uh, building management systems. It's a huge topic, building management system. So basically, artificial heating and cooling consist of HVAC, maybe chiller plants, and all that. So systems can run using renewable sources of energy like solar rooftops, then wind turbines, solar thermal plants. You must go through solar thermal plants. They are very important, and you can also go through uh, parabolic heating, or maybe parabolic thermal plants, which nowadays are booming right now. So solar roof nowadays they are becoming more efficient and more economical. So we can have solar rooftops, and this solar rooftop again decreases the, as I said, that the ceiling temperatures, ceilings generally gets heat induction or heat conduction. So what happens that due to this, the building lifespan decreases. Or you also know that life cycle design. So what happens that sun decreases the building life span and overall reduces the building efficiency. So these solar rooftops stops the direct sun uh, radiations on ceiling, thereby decreasing the effects and induction of heat on ceiling, and thus increasing the overall building efficiency. So this is all about like active sustainable design. There is so much to talk. So I'll be moving ahead. Now let's start with building materials. Very important. Building materials. You must have studied that in the first year. Okay. So whenever you start designing a sustainable building, building materials, without materials you cannot design a building. Okay, so what is like the important part which makes your building more sustainable? What are the two important factors? First is using of renewable sources. For example, um, mud. Mud generally is completely biodegradable, and you must have seen old houses. They used mud houses and plaster their walls with cow dung and straws. So they were so efficient that in turn the quality of soil got increased during a life cycle of a building. So that is how you design a building. You increase the efficiency of a building through properly selecting recyclable, reusable materials. Okay, so you also know that you must know that buildings create more pollution than vehicles, and uh, through many radiations. Generally what happens that I'll be like discussing macroclimatic condition. So what happens that during the daytime, in any context, during the daytime, buildings take the heat energy in, and then later in night they just emit this heat energy in the form of infrared radiations. Now what happens in urban contexts, due to pollution, that is it creates carbon monoxide and carbon dioxide and whatnot. All these gases forms a layer, and they create increases the macroclimatic conditions, or maybe they increase the macroclimate, the climate of the city, or maybe the temperature of the city. So that is how building materials affect the uh, maybe that is how it affects the building design, or sustainable building design. So okay, fine. So let us move ahead. Now this concept of eco-friendly building was evolved in somewhere in 1980s, and thus various bodies were formed to regulate eco-friendly materials. See, you must know what are eco-friendly materials. Okay, so let me tell you some of the eco-friendly materials and how they are regulated. Now, suppose you want to make a green building, and you need a green building material which has green building certification parameters. So what generally is seen in green building material or eco-friendly material? What they do is they generally do life cycle analysis of the material through evaluation of system constraints. Now these constraints are regulated by international bodies like US, EPA, EPP, BEES, and then JIS, that is Japanese International Standards, MOEF, CPCB, and many various bodies. They regulate LEED, all that, all these bodies. They do life cycle analysis of a material, and then they conclude whether this material is eco-friendly or not. Okay, so I'll be telling some of the conventionally available eco-friendly materials. So these are like bamboo-based particle boards, sun-dried bricks, yes, precast cement concrete blocks, lightweight blocks, then precast slabs, lintels, walls, um, then cement paints, clay tiles, slates, PU and acrylic based admixture for corrosion removal and prevention and waterproofing. So epoxy resin, all these are eco-friendly material. One of the most eco-friendly material, excellent eco-friendly material is glass. But certain glasses like UV and IR glasses, they should be used for eco-friendly construction. So so much mm, for it. Okay. So the last part is wastewater management. Okay, so we are moving out of time. So I'll be quickly just completing this topic. It's about reusing and recycling. There are two types of waste materials, biodegradable and non-biodegradable. So it's all about reusing and recycling these biodegradable and non-biodegradable materials. So in Dubai city, the wastewater is generally used to grow plants and create landscapes, used in landscapes. Earlier, as I said, cow dung and straws were used for plaster, and they are excellent biodegradable materials, and they also create fertilizer. So in turn, they are better. Again, wastewater filtration plants and sewage treatment plants should be created, and they are also already there. So these types of waste management systems are designed and to be taken care of, and also they are needed to get a LEED certification and GBC certification. So that's all about, like, because we don't have much time. So that's all about wastewater management, or maybe waste management. Again, waste materials like wood can be reused. Materials like steel, plastic, glass they are recycled. Glass generally is recycled, and through heat treatment processes. So again, when you go with water management, so generally we have sewage treatment plants for that, and we have two types of water, that is gray water and black water. You can Google that out, because you can learn that in depth. But these are like the basic elements which needs to be taken care before designing a sustainable architecture or sustainable building. So I think I have concluded like most of the part, and now I think whenever it comes to green building or sustainable building design, you will be able to start with your own analysis and with your own conclusions. Okay, so now to conclude with that, now let us come to the point. Now suppose tomorrow you want to start building your green building portfolio. Okay, suppose you want to make your green building portfolio. So what are the factors? As I said, what are the factors which need to be considered? First is like active design. Okay, passive design, active design. What is passive design? First is position of a building, then creating elements in a building which regulates these renewable sources. Then active building design, green building, use of green building materials. Okay, landscape integration and waste management. Okay, so thus we are concluding this topic, and I would like you to go through solar rooftops, then green terraces, green walls. These are the elements of green sustainable building which are generally used. Solar rooftops, green terraces, green walls, light shafts and wall shafts. Then always analyze the context, channelize wind and sun and water, plantation on west wall, because as you know, also yes, one more thing, you must go through geothermal cooling systems. Because we don't have much time, I won't be able to elaborate on this. So that's all, friends. I think I have concluded the topic. and there is lot more to say, but I don't have much time, and obviously you are also we are getting short of time. Okay.
We'll take the questions.
Yes.
Yes, sir. We'll
Thank
take
you,
the
Rajiv
questions.
Pandya, sir.
Yes. Yeah.
Just a second.
Yeah.
So I have a question from the
Yeah.
faculties and students also. So first question is, can you define the difference between sustainable architecture and green building, the basic difference?
Green building is a part of sustainable architecture. A green building is, as we discussed, that the parts of sustainable architecture. Sustainable architecture is a wide term, and green building is a subset of sustainable architecture or sustainable building design. Okay, so green building is a
Oh,
way to increase the efficiency of the building by adding landscape to building, within building. See, in urban context, you know that we are short and scarce of space. So what generally green building allows us to increase the surface area of the urban land. And I can give you an example. There is a vertical park in Singapore designed by Ken Yang, and it has a 1.3 vertical park is a building, and it has a spiral covering landscape. And
Green cover.
when you stretch that landscape linear in a linear fashion, then it comes to somewhere around 1.3 kilometers. In urban context, we don't have much space, so we use buildings.
Vertical.
We use the third dimension. We use the Z dimension to increase the surface area of our land and to increase the green part of urban context or urban climate. Okay, so
okay.
this is how we design, because it is very important. We are running out of space, so where are the green plants and all? So we discussed we can have green walls, we can have this rooftops and balconies, we can have overhangings which can be green and which can be maintained. See, maintenance is a part of sustainable architecture. Okay, it is inevitable, and we can have accessibility to those areas in such a way that they can be maintained. Again, we can have drip facilities to water these areas, and we can have vertical vegetation, we can have horizontal vegetation. All these are the basic parts of building design.
Okay. So my
Basically,
second,
yes, yes.
you explain in your PPT that active sustainable design and second one is passive sustainable design.
Sustainable design, yes.
So what do you think about which design is preferably used for in Indian, or
For
which
thousands
design?
of years, see,
Hmm.
for thousands of years, we have used passive sustainable design.
Okay.
Unfortunately, to satisfy our ego or to satisfy our so-called needs, we are using we are
Faulty
we,
practices. We do faulty practices.
we generally nowadays we use more of active sustainable design, but then see, that's how we learn. We are unable to completely use passive sustainable design elements because of urban context. We have so many buildings where how can you channelize wind? Okay, you can govern, you can make water recharge wells and tanks to govern water and channelize water. We do that in our buildings. So we can have solar rooftops, but then somewhere the design part is very much like uh, the basic planning is not there in nowadays. But there are many factors which generally governs all these things. The overpopulation, as sir said, the overpopulation, the uh, uh,
Also
movement
the bad lifestyle,
from, yes, the bad
the
lifestyle.
waste of resources, such
That,
resources.
this is very important. We
Important.
need to have a good lifestyle. You must have heard that early to bed and early to rise. It is very important. See, if you can go to bed at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, then you will be saving at least 4 hours of electricity.
Daily.
You
So
can
just imagine on
use
a macro
renewable
level of a
source of
city,
energy like sun. You
sun.
can wake up early. So that is how you
Rely on passive.
yes, because we are interconnected. See, buildings are for human beings. Most of them are for human beings. So we also need to take care of our. We have to have some discipline in our life to increase the
Exactly.
overall efficiency. Yes.
Yes.
So, but concluding to that, I think active design is passive
Okay.
sustainable design is important, but active in our context, active sustainable design is inevitable.
Equally.
So what we can do, that whenever we get a chance, we can reduce the carbon footprint by reducing our needs. Okay, I can tell my client to reduce one toilet. Okay, and it will decrease my carbon footprint. Okay.
Exactly.
Yes.
The third question is, what technologies dominate in the field of this smart, ecological, sustainable development cities?
Well, technology is as sir said already, there are many things in technological wise. If you see in saving electricity, if we talk about electricity, there are sensor lights. The
Okay.
sensor lights are like very important and a very useful thing. We have HVAC solutions for cooling our houses and everything that gives limited that waste limited amount of energy to cool our houses. Okay, there are dual plumbing systems. A plumbing system, a small thing like plumbing system, is equally important. A dual plumbing system, which saves a lot of water. So there are many
We can add filtration plants.
filtration
Okay,
plants.
to reuse the wastewater. As I said, gray water is reusable, not black water. Gray water
Grey
is
water.
reusable. So we can use this filtration plant to reuse this water. Again, black water can be used, treated, and can be used to create fuel and fertilizer. So we can use these technologies, and still people are like inventing so many things nowadays to increase the efficiency of the building. Technology mostly is right now focused on green building material, which is a part of sustainable architecture. They are generally right now focusing on creating a sustainable green building material. So most of the technology is focused, generally they focus on this thing.
All these things that we talk, they are not solutions. Basically, one must understand
Exactly.
that this is not a
Yes.
solution. If the sink of your kitchen is overflowing, you're not going to take a mop first. You want to close the tap. But unfortunately, we are not in a condition to stop how we live. So these are the solutions, not a solution, but to minimize our carbon footprint level, to minimize certain kind of waste. And also, yes, I completely agree that initial costs of these projects are very high, and for a developing
Hi.
country like India. But one must understand that down the lane, I think 5 to 10 years, the building will be completely free. The building will be completely free.
I
And
think
top
it is
of
a
that,
one
you
type
are
of the for one time,
exactly,
one type of the investment.
exactly.
Yes, yes.
And one must understand that it's
Okay.
his and her duty.
Again, we have not considered the quality of soil, increasing the quality of soil, which
Soil,
is like a
the
huge
most
topic.
huge topic.
But obviously, 1 hour is not enough for all this, so there is so much to talk on it. Okay.
थैंक यू सर. ये
Yes.
इतनी सारी हम ये सब आपने जो नॉलेज दिया, जो पॉइंट्स हैं, ये सब है. So, how to increase awareness of society about such type of the structure?
Okay. See,
question.
that is why we have discussed these points, because see, every time आपने जब भी मतलब देखा होगा आपने कि everybody is talking about green building, sustainable architecture, but what is that here? What is this all about?
Exactly. Yes.
If I want to
Hmm.
create a green building, what am I supposed to do? Okay, tomorrow I want to create a green building. What am I supposed to do? So that's why we have created these points, or maybe we have found these points which are very important and which are like in the root of creating a sustainable building. So once you take care of these points and see these all these points, they are like we are develop right now we are developing um, these things and many technologies to increase the efficiency of a building.
Ourselves are developing, creating
Yes.
few materials, insulation free
So-
and everything.
So these are like the basic requirements which need to be taken care of. So anybody can do that. See, it's not just architect who can do that, or an engineer who can do this. If you consider all these points, passive sustainable design, active sustainable design, see, there is one part of Yajurved called Vastu Shastra. Vastu Shastra is a part of Sthapatya Veda, and that again is a part of Yajurveda. Okay, so see, the fundamental definition which we had of a good architecture was कि जो हमारा ड्वेलिंग है, जो हमारा जो हाउस है, वो वैसा होना चाहिए, जो हमारा एकोमोडेशन है वो वैसा होना चाहिए जिसमें मेंटेनेंस कम से कम हो. सो सी इज सो स्मार्ट. सी एवरीथिंग इज देयर इन दिस डेफिनेशन. सब कुछ है कि हम कैसे डिजाइन करें हमारा मकान, क्योंकि दीज आर लाइक द मोस्ट इम्पोर्टेंट पार्ट्स. हाउ यू गोइंग टू मेंटेन एंड हाउ यू गोइंग to dump all this waste, and what you are going to do this to the waste which is created.
On a very general level, so to speak, on a very general level, what we did is, what we came up with the idea is, for the past 3 years, maybe 3 or 4 years, we
Yes.
made sure that our projects, may it be elevations or interiors, green belt, the plants and fauna, they are an integral part of the interiors. We don't consider them different. The plants and the green belt, the green cover is a part of the each and every project. We make sure we sometimes fight with the clients too. We make sure that green cover or green belt is included in the part of the interiors.
One more thing. See, this is very important, and you must have noticed this, that whenever a person travels, okay, when you go out to travel, what you go for? You go for two things. You go to see nature, maybe Switzerland, or else you go to see architecture. So they were always integrated. You cannot have a building without landscape. Okay. You know Frank Lloyd Wright. He is a green building architect. So what he used to do, he used to do all these things. He used to conserve water. He used to channelize the water. You can go through on internet.
Falling waters.
Yes, that is the best architecture, and he even got a World Heritage Award in. It is like one of the best architecture in 125 years, which is created.
Still there and
Still there. Yes.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Now I would like to request Veena ma'am to share something about this webinar, and then we can
Yes.
Yes.
Hello.
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 Good morning, ma'am.
Hi, Kavan.
Hi. Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
Morning. Very proud to see you that you are doing
Thank you so
you're doing
much.
so much
Thank you so much. Thank you.
मला तर मी त्याने ओळखीत नाही सिरियसली
Beard and
This is
very
very
good
important
webinar and
topic.
very good yes
Thank you so
important
much for giving
topic.
us this
Yes, and
opportunity.
this is an opportunity for us because it's a very important, crucial topic, and it's an
Yes.
upcoming topic. So
And it should be aware in the new
Yes,
generation.
definitely.
Exactly.
And
Yes,
I'm
yes.
very much interested in green building.
Yes,
So that's
absolutely,
my
absolutely. Yes,
are
yes.
also yes, I'm doing
Maybe ये
Yes,
try
I'm
मुझे
doing-
clients ने convince करी ने कि
Right
we
now,
should do this.
ma'am, right now we
I
are
am
working.
going to appear in ICPC AP exam also,
Wow.
but
Okay.
due to some lack of time and busy time, I cannot appear still. But अभी एक conclave आ रहा है IGPC का, तो attend करके I'm trying to give it.
Oh,
Yes.
great, wonderful.
So that's why the question is from my side. That is what is difference
Yeah.
between green building and sustainable building. So
Oh,
that is very much clear today only, and I'm very
Thank you
proud
so
to
much.
say that they're clear by my student.
Oh,
So
thank
that
you
is
so
very,
much.
very,
Thank you so
very
much,
proud.
ma'am.
Right,
The
Vijay
pleasure is
sir?
ours. The pleasure is ours.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. The pleasure is ours. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'm very eager to see you in the college and with the seminar.
Definitely.
Both of you, sir. Both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Vijay
Thank
sir,
you.
for arranging this.
Thank you, Vijay sir. Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
Vijay
And
sir.
thank you,
Yeah.
Parul University and the
Thank you, Parul
coordinators.
University. Yes.
Thank you so much.
Come and meet me as and when you get the time.
Definitely.
Yes, you
Definitely,
both.
ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
So finally, I conclude
Yes,
this
sir.
webinar, and I again thank to Mr. Rajiv Pandya sir and Mr. Kawaljit Chauhan sir. I must
Yes.
say Kawaljit is our students, a student of 2009. So I'm proud that. So finally I
And my doubt
conclude
is cleared
and-
by you. That is very proud for me.
Thank you so much. It's all
So
because
I
of you
thank
I'm here.
Parul Yes, of course. So I thank you, Parul University and Parul University Management. I thanks to PU Webinar Cell Department. I thanks to Event Department. I thanks to Academic Director, Mr. Mahesh Bhatt, sir. I thanks to Mrs. Ruchi Srivastava, our Principal Ma'am of PITDS. Thanks to my Civil Department faculties and Head of Department of Reena Choksi Ma'am. So thank you. And finally, lastly, my students of Civil Department and all viewers. So thank you very much.
Thank you so
Thanks
much
a
for
lot.
joining.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
I will come and visit your office.
Please,
Definitely, please.
anytime.
Thank you.
You're more than welcome.
Vijay sir, I will be there.
Thank you. Definitely, you're more than welcome, ma'am.
Yes, you are better. Bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.